Będzie...
2 razy, teraz będzie już.
Okej. Hello, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, thank you today for joining us for today's show, for the webinar which we scheduled for you guys. A quite interesting topic, the one version and the maximizing the savings. So I'm glad that you have joined us today. But before we will get started, we will just wait like 15, maybe 20 seconds more to make sure that all the registered participants have joined us. So maybe during that time, I will ask you a few questions, like we usually do doing this. We need to test, the chat if it's working and everything is, if you are seeing us and hearing us correctly. So please write that in the chat section. You can share also from which country or from which organization you are, or just basically confirm us if you are seeing us and hearing us correctly. I will just check the chat.
Yeah, we've got it.
I think we have the confirmation right now. Bahrain. Cool. UK. Belgium. Amazing. UK again. So we have a quite huge audience today. So thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. So yeah, as we have tested that everything is working, and you have confirmed that with the comments in the chat, I think we can move forward to today's show. So today's webinar topic is build a smoke test for one version to maximize your savings in the test cycle. Today with me, Bart, our head of our framework, Executive Automats framework, will give you the, I'll say, a very beneficial and very value feedback and value in terms how you can do and how you should approach the smoke tests. But before we will just skip to the agenda and move to the agenda, we want to give you short information when you can see and hear us in person and speak to us. So it's the first time when we are joining the Dynamics Community Road Trip. And yeah, Bart, if you may share a bit when you will be able to meet our customers and the person who would like to, ask the questions considering our tools.
That's true. I mean, thank you so much, Raf, for mentioning that. Indeed, we are planning something new. There's going to be a road trip. Will be part of the Dynamics Communities road trip in US. There are, I think, 10 events scheduled for this year, and we're going to be definitely in Dallas on 26th of March. Yeah, actually, Raf, we are going together as well to Slovenia for
That's
Dynamics
correct.
Minds.
That's correct.
And we have in October as well, if I remember right.
Yeah.
October XG.
XGS in Texas, I think, as I remember. So
right.
yeah, so at least 3 times you will be able to see and visit our stand and chat with us in person. So we are preparing more and more events to meet you guys because we have a still growing community of active users of Executive Automats, and we really want to hang out with you guys and chat about our tool and your experience with that. Okay, so I think we can move to the agenda for today's show. So first, we will share with you a bit of the statistics considering the topic which we want to speak with you guys, and give you the a brief introduction what we can describe as the smoke test. Then we will give you the information how to perform building of such a tests with your business users, stakeholders, and all the people which are involved in the whole procedure of creation of such a smoke test, where you need to execute the smoke test, and also the time. We will share a bit of information how you should schedule and how often you should execute those smoke tests, and how to measure the outcomes of those tests. Then our short showcase showing exact topics which we have moved before in our tool executive automats, and last but not least, the question and answers session live. So yeah, Bart, the stage is yours. So thank you guys,
so much,
and
Raf.
we can
Thank you so
move
much,
to the
Raf,
next slide.
For the start, for the intro. Yeah, indeed, this is going to be a very interesting topic, and gladly today we can show you a lot of details, a lot of data that we've gathered. First of all, as you see here, statistics. And what is common? Statistics are something which are very powerful tool for us to build a tool itself for test automation, but also statistics are giving us idea how market works, how people are testing overall. And throughout these years, we are actually gathering data for last 3 years. Before that, doing test automation for AX 2009, AX 2012, we didn't have that opportunity. These environments were sealed, they were closed. Finance and operations gave this possibility, and we are able to get that not very deep level of information, but we have the statistics, some not sensitive, the general information, how it works. And that gives us very interesting topics, very interesting findings, like what are the top element to have. I mean, most important when it comes to one version is simply saying smoke tests. That's why today's agenda will be about smoke tests and some approaches, some ways which are verified and accepted by the customers. If you're going to take a full year, 12 months, we see customers with 52,000 executions of test cases per month. These numbers are significant, and you cannot expect that you will meet that. These are, not only super-sized companies will do that. Again, the testing for with that amount will be beneficial, of course, because you are able to build very detailed understanding of system stability and health status. If we talk about an average of test cases execution, we have 1,200. This more months we go down the road, it doesn't increase so much. We see that the 1,200, it goes a bit up because of the customers are more used to testing. This is some positive aspect, but more customers we have when we are going up to over 200 customers across the globe, we see that the statistics are not actually changing so much. Those 1,200 is something which is acceptable, and over a month time, again, it's still a lot. These statistics are based on over 1.7 million test cases execution and over 122 million business events that we are simulating. Going forward on our agenda, what is a smoke test? What actually it does, and sometimes you're gonna hear a smoke test, sometimes sanity test. There are multiple definitions of that, and simply saying ERP systems from the beginning, they are pretty new to testing. Business was testing. Due to that, since the business is testing, there was not so much methodologies. Test automation was a few percentage of the market. You couldn't get that solution. You couldn't get methodologies. You couldn't have some nice handbooks, guidance to perform testing in a specific manner. That's why the accommodation of the tools and the starting point was a big hectic back in 2017 and actually back in 2012, where we done a lot on testing on the ERP systems. But of course, month by month, we've been gathering a lot of information to build that baseline. What to do to perform ideal testing. I mean, how to make it optimal / cost effective. And what is the
Bart,
smoke test?
sorry, Bart,
Yep.
but as I remember, the smoke test description comes from electronic devices because you are testing them until they will broke and do the how to
Yeah.
say smoke. That's
Exactly,
correct.
like a base test were in the old times
Yeah,
to overload the system to see the smoke, to see if there will be a smoke,
if
and
there
that's
will be a
indeed
smoke, exactly. Okay, okay,
that's true.
cool.
Happily, we are not anymore on the server sites because everything is on cloud. If everything is on cloud, we won't see the smoke anymore. I mean, or we're gonna have cloud smoke.
Okay, thank you.
But that's true. That's kind of old style from 70s or 80s. The whole definition, but indeed, the smoke test is about fundamental your core business processes that you have in the organization. So baseline, very basic thing, not touching regression testing. We don't do regression, meaning that we don't go to such a level of detail by covering your system with 100% of the test case. We speak with the business, we extract what is important, and then we very frequently execute that. Of course, we have to be careful. We have to perform some data migration. We have to make those scripts bulletproof. So there is some governance around that. If you're going to do that, you can do 50,000 test cases and very few maintenance of that. And then any update for Microsoft will be not as much risk as possible. Any ISV update, any not only one version, but the proactive quality updates. And lastly, your in-house development will not break the machines. So talking about how to build smoke tests with the business. The first thing first, you have to set up meeting with business process expert. SMEs, BPOs, depending on what definitions you are operating with. It's all about user, which knows everything about the area, which is owner of the process, and they know how to process, how to do sales, purchases, warehouse operations, fixed assets, and so forth. These elements, they need to be well understood. So when you record a test case, the people will be able to explain you some inputs, some validation, some idea. What about this process? What is deeply actually behind the scenes? What we should expect? Those criterias, acceptance criterias, they're essential because if you have them, your testing is more reliable. So when you have BPM, when you have the business process owners, subject matter expert access, sometimes it of course requires some program manager to give approvals, make a project. So the governance can be quite big. But if you have their time before the meeting will start, it is good to define the baseline, naming conventions, the business areas to know how we're going to distinguish test cases, more or less how many areas, how many business owners will be included, which legal entities. These elements are key essential because then the next steps are based on them. So then what I can do as a practice, you can build an Excel file, shared file where you're going to define all of your test cases names with the business applied. So test cases name and person responsible. So I'm going to have the list of all test cases and owners of them, owners of those specific test cases. If it is possible, ideally, business can be included in application like Executive Automats or any other application that you use. And the business will simply go and record step-by-step business process. If you don't have the capacity, you can organize workshops. You can ask business, guys, we are able to perform that process extraction. So you can go to the business, ask them to walk through the business process on the way, on sort of in the moment where we do that online session. And during that, you can on your own or some QA, some person who actually has some executive automates capacity, understanding, they can just go step by step through the forms, identifying buttons, just to have complete process recorded. If they're gonna do that, at the end, the business, of course, is asked by us by some questions like what are the acceptance criteria, if there are some statuses that we are expecting to change, so on and so forth. More details you're gonna get from the business, more test case will actually validate, more comprehensive, robust those test cases will become. When you're gonna have
But if I
your
may ask, jump here a bit. Sorry if that's yeah,
no worries.
interruption. But I have seen the question considering if it's such a description of the tests and smoke tests, indeed, which we are describing right now, can be utilized within DevOps integration, like those information. Because from my knowledge and from my experience with the customers, they often use the DevOps in terms of the typical regression tests. But also, I think smoke tests are also quite good to place in DevOps. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, you are totally true. Totally right on that. I think in the case where you are operating in DevOps, it is essential to use DevOps as one point of code, data, and the test cases, and so other elements, other artifacts. And ideally, where you're gonna build your test cases, smoke test plan, when they are ready, you just move them straight to DevOps. So why we do that actually? Because we want to do DevOps is our communication mechanism. So when something goes wrong, let's imagine we have 100, 150, 60 test cases for smoke test. Something goes wrong. And then if something goes wrong, we create an issue or bug in DevOps. And when we have our test cases in DevOps, I'm able to call them in my bug. So even if somebody doesn't have access to executive automats or any other tool, they can just see what is in test case. So they are able to extract the data, understand what is the process about, the problem about, and they can make some corrective actions. So indeed, DevOps is essential later on also for reporting. ADO has that perspective of something called runs and progression report. So we are able to see our test cases. We're going to have our test suite of smoke test. We're going to have, let's say, 4 or 5 runs or more. I mean, at least six runs over a year time. And each of those runs, they're going to have and build you the feeling, number of successes, errors, and it's going to go and fluctuate. It's going to go accordingly to your graph, and you will see after a number of executions in ADO what is the status. Of course, you can use Power BI for that, but ADO is out of the box possibility, very simple integration, and of course, when you're gonna notify the business, we've got a bug. Bug comes was discovered within that test case. You have business process owner. You have direct connection to person who is responsible for it. They can tell you if it is a bug or feature. The funniest question, but it's important to understand that this is a feature because the process changed, because new update includes new functionality. Business doesn't work anymore like that. You have to correct the process, or it actually is a bug because we've got a call stack or a new requirement, new mandatory field, and we don't need that, or we shouldn't even have that. So we also can make corrective actions. This is all about something called triage. Yeah, thank you so much for the question.
Oh, yeah. And guys, before we skip, I'll say move to the next slide. If you want to check by yourself how easy it is to use our tool in terms of smoke test, and you want to check how it easy integrates with the DevOps, just use the trial link in the chat section, which will be shared in the moment, and reserve you yourself a journey through the free trial program of our tool, the Executive Automates. So moving forward, yeah, where to execute the test cases.
Exactly. Moving to the element of the execution of the test cases. Of course, it depends on the organization. You may have a portion of those environments. You may have 3 times more of the environments. but the naming conventions is kind of the same. Simply saying the smoke tests in here are also called sanity check, but you can use both of those definitions in the way you like. Today we talk about smoke tests, so I apologize for that misspelling here. But where we are executing them, we execute them on built environments where developers are merging the code. So we are able to see how stable on the first layer, on the first stage, these test cases are. Of course, that's not you will not get the same level of stability on build and UAT or test, but build, of course, can be tested by that basic smoke package, because this will give you also feeling if developer which is building a new extension is not, say, hurting other type of the process or other process which is in the same area. Of course, SIT is the place where you could have your smoke tests. The reason why for the other people which are not using SIT, system integration test environment is most likely independent, because you might not want to have everybody access to integrations which are available most in production, and you don't have so many instances of integrations which are not that doesn't have they don't have like entity or like a type test, since that if you are overloading integration which is available also in production, you can have production issues, which we don't want. Ideally, all APIs, all integrations could have a test environment, so then we don't have that risk, and we can schedule more of those on UATs, on test machines. But it's a common thing that you might not have so many test instances of your integration. That's why you do SIT, to limit number of people which are testing and manipulating the integrations, to not have, at the end of the day, problem on production. So we can say development machines, test machines, SITs, and of course UAT, where the business are doing sign-off. And finally, you can have your release and regression testing environment, which are having the latest signed-off version of your Dynamics Finance and Operations. Doesn't matter if this is a pre-release, a pre-go live environment when you are in the implementation process, or you are after go live, where you've spent a lot of time, and then on the release you have the newest version, which will come soon. So we just check the stability of the application. For those of you who doesn't know cherry picking is the sub process when you have on the UAT, you've made a deal with a partner that you want to have full layer or full functionality delivered for sales, but it happened that you need a portion. The other elements from the whole component, it is not ready, but you want to cherry pick. You want to select one cherry from that one element and push it to the next stages. Not exactly to production. Sometimes, of course, production, but we just want to take one complete cherry and push it to the environment. So the system can actually benefit from that one complete element, and it will simply wait for the others when they're going to be completed. We could talk more a bit about that, but since the smoke test today is the most important element, let's move on. And moving on to the actual reporting. So we have Power BI, which can be very helpful. And one of the points which we discussed, it is good to meet with business process owners and ask them a simple question: how they would like to see the report summarizing your test cases, what will fit their needs. So they're gonna tell you, I need to see the A, B, C, and D, and you can build a Power BI report, use the endpoints that we have or other tools have to build one report which is external, which doesn't use ADO or finance operations or executive automate or any other tool. You have one endpoint where every stakeholder, which is in the organization, can jump in, go check how system progresses. So there is one component here on the upper right corner. This graph, this line shows us how the system progresses. So the number of test cases is increasing. We have some error messages, so we see the ratio, and we are able to tell if the system is healthy or not, or if something failed or not. And naturally, you have in here 50 test cases, 60 test cases, and smoke test will not be 300, 500 test cases test suite. It might be even 20, 50, 100, 150. Depends on organization. But as a starting point, we focus on the most important processes. Even if you're going to have 20 and you're going to run that daily, you will benefit. And using that occasion, if you think why to run 20 test cases or 100 test cases, doesn't matter, day by day on the environment, even though the environment is not changing. We haven't done any code deployment. The answer for that is kind of a tricky but simple. If you're going to execute 100 processes day by day, you're going to find a lot of corner cases. If you're going to do 100 journals, you're going to some point see some deadlocks. You're going to see some possibilities that you've exceeded some values, you've exceeded some amounts, you found out new credit limit, behavior which you haven't seen before. You're going to see multiple behaviors of the application, which is kind of a rare. It will happen in production, but it will never happen when you run once your test case. The smoke test needs to be bulletproof. So we want to have a package which is, we want to have a package which will be possible for execution hundreds of times, repetitively, weekly, daily, bi-weekly, up to you. But this growth will create you a lot of artifacts, a lot of data of the environment. So, yep, following back to that, make sure that you have a report which everybody likes, everybody understands. So the testing will be a valuable asset for your one version journey. Focusing a little bit on executive automats. If you think about value proposition, what is exactly executive automats? We've been able to identify 6 of those elements. 6 of those, what exactly is EA? EA is a zero code record and play test automation tool, which allows you to sit like me today. You can be very fresh, but you know dynamics. You can just click record and then walk you through processes. You can do performance testing. You can receive from us the methodologies and standard operation practices for ADO. So the product is complete. You are able to understand and build yourself an approach how your testing will be done in the organization. Not only that, you test, we test one version, which means that we have over 180 right now. It grows. We have a number of processes that we are validating the test cases on the new version of Dynamics. And I think, Raf, there was some number that we created bugs for Microsoft. I think this was 3. Do you remember how many? But
I think kind of less than 5, as I remember, but I will say that more than 3, like 4. And I remember that. So yeah. Maybe that's not very significant, but still, finding such a bug, yeah, this is, I would say, build our credibility here, because, yeah, Microsoft haven't found that. We have found that. So yeah.
That's true. We are finding out within testing of Dynamics internally, bugs which we raise to Microsoft. We work with Microsoft to make the application more stable. And at the end of the day, you are just benefiting out of that. Standard process library means that we also have default package of the processes that you can use for seeing how to build test cases. But also, this is a great onboarding material. This is a great step-by-step guide. Rafa, we probably also use that for doing some fixed asset or some other stuff.
Exactly, guys. So imagine that you have like all the modules of Dynamics 365. That's by us, and we are giving you this, I would say, unfair advantage from the other companies which are not using our tool, or they're doing it manually. That you have a guide, detailed guide, what areas of those modules you need to follow in terms of the testing. So that's the onboard. The documents itself consist the pre-designed process. So basically you can click and play it, and also the documentation with that. And also this gives you the documentation, you can have both, in a PDF and video. So a huge fundamentals of the knowledge which you can transfer across your organization with our tool itself. So this actually it helps a lot, especially with some stakeholders or business users who are not very familiar with the testing, and this gives them the overview, because I'm not speaking about the testers and quality assurance team which you are having or you not have in your organization, but I mean with the business users. This gives them this fundamentals, so
Like a carrot, like a carrot
like
for them,
carrot.
for those who they don't want to spend time on testing.
Exactly. That's for sure.
The last element is actually that the executive automats, the whole branch, our business unit has 12 years, and we've been since 2005 understanding of biz apps, business application for Dynamics. That gave us a lot of confidence, a lot of understanding of specifics of the system behavior. So you can expect that the application gives you a lot of knowledge and functionalities which are supporting you in the background. That even though you don't know a lot of on testing area, there are some guidance, there is some functionality helping you to pass through that one version exam, which everybody right now has.
Yeah.
And finally, if we're gonna jump in a moment to quick record and play, just wanted to show you for business, most likely how easy it is. We can record any process that we're gonna do. We're gonna do the live in a moment, but indeed, EA is very broad now. Raf was mentioning Dallas. I mean the other elements that we're gonna be on site. Feel free to come. We can quick chat. We can hear from you. I mean, we want to hear from your problems to build solutions for that.
Exactly. This is the main goal of ours, and let's say we are aiming to achieve this goal. So meet as much as possible of you guys. So feel free to do so.
You always have an option to certify yourself. We have, I don't know, what do you feel about the certification program, Rafael? I think that's one of the
I'm
components.
I'm certified user of the executive automats. So
yeah, Rafael did that. The second level or the third level?
I have like a second level because the third level is basically equals with our team, with our QA team. So the people who are using the executive automats day by day. But what I can say, that was a very good journey. That was something which, well, in history, I was in the on the UATs phases. I would say my skills were utilized in terms of testing the ERP when it was implemented in my previous organization. And if I would had this knowledge before, definitely it will be something beneficial, because it will gives me some kind of a best practice approach to how to perform such a test, especially when you are the user, because on which areas you should focus and how you can do such approach that when you are having the UATs, you can already think about the regression. So basically, as you will have a correct described test case, you can easily convert to the test script, which you can reply over and over and over again. And that was a very good journey. And this is so if you are a tester or you are the business user, I highly underline that you should take the advantage of the certification program. Sometimes we have a free waves of certification, so feel free to join this wave. But what you need to do, you just need to follow our LinkedIn page of the Executive Automats, and twice a year, as I remember, but we are having such a free wave of the certification program. So take the advantage of that. So this is something which gives you this firstly the certificate which you can share on the LinkedIn, and secondly the knowledge which is know-how which we have built over the 11 years right now, something like that. 11 years.
That's true. So, the 12 this year.
The 12, that's correct.
Okay. So let's jump into EA. I'll walk you through some very basic stuff. So this will be something which will be like a few minutes. If you would like to see more, as Ralph was mentioning, you can either start trial, book a demo with our sales representatives. So you will have very deep understanding. Trial is great because you are able to have 2 weeks of deep dive in the tool. You have trainings in it, so you have pretty impressive knowledge about the whole automation. Just want to confirm if the screen is visible. If yes, all right. I'll do quick recording for you guys. The Executive Automates is SaaS application. It can of course connect to cloud solutions, but also on-premises solutions. So it doesn't matter if you are F&O on premises as well. We can install it in your tenant, and then you can do test automation on premises as well. The application itself is very simplified. You have scripts. You can say script is an end-to-end process. So everything what you do in business application, you can record as a test case and then schedule. So you can build 100 test cases. We can build your smoke test package. Then you schedule that Friday evening and execution. And then you go and check that on Monday. In the latest version, we even added something called multiple repetitions of the scheduler execution, which is a nice feature because system will run once, and if some process will error out, it will do another try. So it can validate if there might be a random error message which was not important as of now, as of the overall run. System tries to execute few times, so it has some more logic which makes sure that Monday morning you've got the results, they were tested, they were done twice if something goes wrong. You can do of course multiple retries, but it has to have a sense, of course. At the end of the day, let's do the script. Let's record a sample test case. You click add, and you can select which project you're going to use. That's a very important element because if you're going to build your nice aggregation, if you're going to have naming convention for our test cases, you know that I'm going to record right now in sales, purchases, fixed assets, then it's easier for me to find out where is my testing coverage, how many test cases we've got already, and then yeah, it's more cheerful for business to see that their process has some bugs. So let's pick finance stream. We're gonna do finance and accounting, FA abbreviation, then 00101 fixed asset creation. Simple process. So as you can see here, naming convention has the ID. It has the name. You can expand that, up to you. It is good to have at least something which will make your test case unique, and most likely saying an ID. Then you click record. System opens up another page, a page which connects to finance and operations. Then stage is yours. You can record anything. You can have shared process, shared session with business. So they're gonna just tell you, go there, click that, select this. And then on the right hand side, we'll be able in a second see the system. Or you can give that to the business and tell them just click red button and then navigate. So they select main module, fixed assets. They go to fixed assets. Even though they might record a very hectic process, which we don't recommend, it is good to record an end-to-end, kind of a smooth process, which has understandable next steps. Even they don't do that, you, after a quick certification, which takes 1 day, you are able to correct those steps to make it work. So we just need simply saying a basic understanding of what the business does. Let's select a group. What are we going to buy today? Vehicles. Raf, you like Teslas or prefer not?
Teslas, Volvos, you know.
Let's do Volvo.
Yeah, okay.
We are just creating a they are expensive, so let's do 100K each. EA, and the unit of measure. Perfect. And we are good to go. Let's make a model XC90. Technical information, let's keep it. As you see, I'm not doing anything crazy technical. System record, step by step, action by action. All right, I've done some mistake. I can validate that. I can edit this. Everything that you do in the system can be modified, changed, adjusted. So your test case, straight from the beginning, will have all necessary components. You can make reusable steps, optional steps, steps which will be disabled, some logic. I want to check status A. If it is equal to something, then success. If not, then do something else. So we can say not only happy paths, but validation of the results, negative testing. You can apply Excel file to that process. So we can not only apply to our organization Volvo XC90, but we can do whole gamma, all vehicles they've got in the portfolio. We can add them straight from the Excel file. System will repeat loop one by one, going through the Excel, preparing for me multiple processes. When we use that for golden processes. In a lot of organizations, you have one sales process, which is more or less the same across 10, 15 entities. The products are different. VAT is different. Some other aspects might be different, but this is more like you have different inputs on the field. So it is more than tempting to create one test case, use our new functionality called Global Excel, and make that governance from the Excel file. So Excel file consists 15 rows with 15 data from different entities. And we have one test case which tests everything across our organization, focus on sales. So it doesn't need to be 15 test cases. You have less maintenance and you have more bulletproof functionality. If it's going to fail in one entity, you will know that. In the meantime, we have our test case. We've defined some idea, some value. I can, of course, modify that to some cheaper model. I'll also modify the price as it's cheaper as well. 80K. And then let's leave this as 60. Every step has also the comment section. As Raf was mentioning, this test case can be a carrot for the business because they can say, I don't have time for building test cases because I also have to do documentation. So you can say, if you're going to build for me your test case, I will extract from it documentation. Documentation will have explanations, step-by-step instructions, screenshots, and many more if needed. If you are fine with what you recorded, you can save the fixed asset that we are ready, and then I can simply switch back to player to see how system will go through that. This process is kind of a very basic one. It doesn't need some unique entries. So we are able to build multiple vehicles. I mean, purchase multiple vehicles. If you're going to need to apply unique data, you have here number sequences. So system can increment the value and do 100 unique entries. Customer creation, item IDs, everything what you need, which needs to be unique, it will be pretty handy. So now let's observe how system goes step by step for the process. We have check marks suggesting that everything is good. If you're going to have some misclick, if I did something wrong, system will notify that with error message. If I'm happy with the result, nothing stops me to say I want to record more steps. So I can switch back to player to record it again, hit the red button, and go to books and make some new entry.
Yeah, guys,
as simple as that.
Sorry, Bert. We are having like always the questions: what is the maintenance time required for the making the modification in the EA? And usually, everyone remembering the RSAT when you need to basically build everything from the scratch if you want to modify something. And in EA, as you can see, shown by Bart, it's easy as the click on the button which switch between play and the recorder whenever you want, whenever the screen of step which you want to record is visible. Yeah. So imagine that you have like a significant change in the business process that we have the significant visible, functionality on the D365, and the workflow was modified in the kind of way that you need to just click this button. And as it will be visible now, or you will do something differently, you can switch from the player, starting from the player to the recorder, and add this significant change to your script with simple few clicks. Yeah, so
That's exactly
good.
correct.
Yeah.
The simplicity is the king. And see here now, we have warning message. So everything system sees as potential danger will be identified, and you can convert that warning message straight from our interface to bug or error message. To bug or issue in ADO to continue with triage. We can talk about that much, much more. We have 45 minutes scheduled for the first session, then to leave you guys some for Q&A questions. So probably going to go back and forth through the application. More than happy to do more live demos. So keep in mind the all possibilities to see us in person. We also come on site very often to do some POCs. Finance operations is our perfect land. So Raf, stage is yours. Please let me know if there are any questions from the Q&A.
Yeah, on the Q&A session. So I will just check the questions which we have been addressed. Yeah, the first question. Are the scenarios for a smoke a subset of regression test set? If so, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, that's for sure. But take a close look which scenario of the probably regression test set are candidate for the smoke test.
Sure. If I understand the question right, or Raf, if you want to take it on you.
Yeah, feel free, mate. Feel free.
Sure.
But I have a quite similar, question mark here because I don't think we. But go ahead, mate.
Okay. So that's a very good question. You have a regression pack, and you want to build out of that smoke test. That's a perfect question because regression testing is too big tool to be used every time. So what we should do, we should focus on test cases from regression and check only those which are actually bulletproof. Those which don't need so many changes, so much data, so much presets, pre-configurations, access rights, so forth. To take those simple executions, which I can make convert to step-by-step test case with everything sort of encapsulated, everything sealed in one test case. If I can run one test case 100 times without my intervention, that's the candidate for smoke test. So you have to do a quick X-ray on your regression, find out candidates which are possible to be executed multiple times without your intervention, and then you can use that. Because at the end of the day, you would like to run that few times in the week, few times in the month, up to you. More frequent you're going to do, more results. So it has
more
to be
results, more secure you are. Yeah, that's correct. So thank you for this question, Rashi. Very cool question. I think I have already mentioned the most interesting difference between the RSAT and executive automats. So basically, first is that RSAT is limiting only to D365 finance operations. And sorry, Bart, maybe you want to take it.
No, Raf, you are
okay.
Doing
So maybe you
will
will add something to my answer. Yeah. But the most important difference is the reusability of the recorded test cases. So basically, the how you create from those test cases which you have described, I know, with the Excel spreadsheet or DevOps or in the internal documents, and how you convert that into the test scripts, and how that this test script have this reusability caption. So if you can do that with RSAT, you are very high skilled, because whenever something is changing, whenever the certificate expires or something, the reusability is very low in RSAT. And basically, if something is wrong with the recorded test script, you need to build it from the beginning. And last but not least, is that Microsoft confirmed many times that the technology beneath the RSAT was well, how to describe that? Not very correctly chosen by the tech team of Microsoft. So they, I think, as like a few months ago, they confirmed that they're stopping the roadmap of the tool. So basically, you cannot think about new functionalities in the future, and this is something which puts us in a very different position, because usually our tool receives 2 major updates within 1 year with new functionalities and better stability. And there's one thing which I haven't mentioned before, is that EA can be used also in the cross-platform, web-based application testing. So there was also
Maybe
the question
to
about that.
extend what we were roughly saying as well, it is
Yeah,
good to say that Microsoft is stopping investment, so you
yeah,
won't have any significant new changes in RSAT. Plus,
that's correct.
Microsoft did something this last year, which sets the rules or sets the availability of the tools. They created a quick tech materials. I mean, on Learn Microsoft.com, you can find out testing solutions that you can use for finance and operations for one version. And they clearly defined what you can use. There's a lot of our competition out there. They don't recommend anything in particular. They say they like some things, but there is no recommendation. You can use anything which is on the list. And that was done very nicely to take off all possible rumors, just to clear out. Take something you like, take something you can afford, take something which does for you a lot for the ROI. So feel free to read those comparisons, and if you want to learn more about EA, we can show you how it equals RSAT or other stuff as well.
That's correct. So thank you, actually, for the question. The next questions comes from Ped. Hi. Do you cover testing across the CE and FSCM, which is integrated using dual write?
Yes.
Very good question. Yes. Simple as is that.
Yeah, dual write. We do. I mean, finance and operation is our wonderful home where we feel the best strength and functionalities. In CE, we do as well. I mean, the scope for us is everything which is in Dynamics. FS, the CE, F&O. We don't do yet Business Central. We want soon. And everybody who would like to see how it works on SAP, other stuff, we're going to have new functionality, new actual. I mean, this is going to be a technology breakthrough for us. We're going to have
we are
bird
sharing with you guys
programs.
a bit of sneak peek of what we are planned for this year.
That's
But
true.
yeah, go ahead.
In March, we're going to have an early bird program of our new application, totally new way of object identification, which is going to be probably one of the most advanced and unique approaches on test automation available on the market. And we're going to do some early bird programs, and we're going to definitely start the global deployment in June, July, maybe August, depending on findings. But right now, it's super promising. I mean, the things we can do with the new version will be astonishing.
Sorry, Bart, that's a game changer.
Yeah, that's true.
As soon as you will be able to join us in our community of the executive automats users, basically with the experience of the tool, you will be able to enter the early bird program. So sooner is better for you guys. Okay,
Raf, we need to mention one more thing. I don't know, guys, if you've seen our last webinar on security stuff, on security application, but that was the day where we had nice game changer as well from our mindset. This year, we've been told, and we actually know that guy, we have a customer which is going for retirement.
Oh, yeah.
this year in March, and he was standalone building 500 test cases, working half-time. He did a lot of nice, interesting, advanced coding and loops and so forth.
This extends logic in the test cases, yeah. So.
Yes, correct. We are so astonished how much he could do over that short time, and he loved that. I mean, we are more than happy to do the case study with that company. We're waiting for confirmation, so we can't tell the name or any more details. But it was nice because we've been just surprised how much he did, and he was just leaving the company, and we just came out to see how they perform, how they like the tool so far. And he was like, "Yeah, that's good. That's probably the last project he was handling so far." But he liked that a lot. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Exactly.
To that company now. Hopefully, we will be able to build case study together, and we'll show to the market how they did that.
Yeah. Thank you, Bart. So we have like another question from Fate. Is the tool to be used by D365 Finance Operation Implementation Partners for the testing task, or it's to be purchased the client customer? So both scenarios are option here. Depending on how you are structured in your organization or what kind of partner you are having in terms of the implementation service or whatever, many things are many options you have. As much you are willing to have the license on your own, this is also the options. As I can say, the customers of ours is like 50 by 50, I think, which decide to have the license for their own, and because always ends with the license for your organization. Why? Because this is the terms of legal topics, considering the requirements, usability, service of the tool, etc., etc. So software as a service licensing is quite wide open, but still there is some kind of obligations from the licensee and licensor. So always the solution is designed for your actual situation in your organization. So there are many options, and we are quite open for discussion. And we have a lot of partners across the world, and also we have a lot of customers across the world. So answering straight to your question, both options are possible.
That's correct.
The next question, Abish, does the tool support performance and load testing? Yeah, that's quite the most the biggest difference between our competitors is that our tool has that. So Bart mentioned about this documentation, which is shared by Microsoft on the Microsoft Learn, describing our competitors basically and the most reliable tools for the testing, and only one has this capability of the performance testing. We are also have been endorsed by Microsoft and point out that we have this functionality in our backyard. So we can do that. Bart, you want to add something here?
Yeah, to add a few things. So our intention is to give you possibility to use your test cases that you operate for smoke test or regression and use them for doing stress tests or performance tests.
That's correct.
We want to give you the possibility to simulate wonder after go live. So if you are wondering if the sizing guide is correct, you can do that. The reports and findings are astonishing. We've been able to work with one of the biggest projects across the globe. For us, that's very nice entertainment, and we love to do that. We've been able to squeeze out everything from tier 5 machines and most likely tier 5 machines, very, very beefed up tier 5 machines, multi-localizations. So if you're wondering how to perform performance testing, we do that also as a project base. So you might not even need a license. We come, we do the test, and then you are able to provide that report to Microsoft. We have much more IP around that, and we do much more with partners as well. We have dedicated partners also in South Africa, which are having multi-localization, which are performing performance tests on CE and FNO in combination, so you can test that very critical aspect of dual write, which is very unique. Yeah. If you would like to talk about that in more detail, just let us know. We can schedule a call.
Thank you, Bart. So the next question comes from they have, I think, if I pronounced it correctly. Is there a demo video of the dual write process testing? Well, guys, what I suggest is also to have a bit of hands-on experience. So I suggest for you to subscribe for the demo, which will be designed to show you dual write process testing. So live demo is always better than a video recording because it's not artificial, it's real life. So let's meet. Use this link. Exactly. Thank you, Studio, for sharing that. Next question.
License
Yeah. Do we have to purchase separate license for each of the Dynamics applications or one license work for all? Well, I don't know if I correctly understood the question here, but if you are thinking that you need some different licensing for the other applications, like different licensing for FO, different licensing for CE, no, this is a license which covers all, but in the details, book yourself a meeting with us and we will describe the licensing. There is an even button in our www.executiveautomats.com page when you can request the price. So do that and do that and feel free to book yourself a call with our sales representative and he will guide you through our price list. Yeah, we have exceeded a bit of the time here, I think. 1 hour and 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, so guys, many thanks for the questions. Really enjoyed the session. Thank you for being with us. As you can see, we are still working to having a better quality for you guys and having better webinars for you and more entertaining. We are changing ourselves to give you the best possible content. And today from the studio, Bart, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry that I'm just checking the next monitor. So, and thank you guys for joining us. See you around. Cheers.
Have a great evening and great day for you from US. Thank you so much. Cheers, guys.
All the best. Bye.